It is Sunday, September 28th, 2025. I'm taking a walk around 8 o'clock at night in a very popular area. It's in a residential area surrounded by homes. It's just a little path in the center of the road, center of a boulevard. And I have my self-defense tools. The sun or the moon is kind of a crescent in the sky. It's warm. This is Northeast Ohio. And I just wanted to talk about what you need to do, or what I did before making a long distance move from Illinois to Ohio. Actually, it kind of happened faster than what I ever thought. I knew I wanted to make the move back in 2014, and then I actually made the purchase of the home in June 2020 or June 2015. So then mentally I was ready to move, and being mentally prepared is the most important, because then that prepares you for making the logistic plans to affect that move. And I am not sorry that I moved. It was one of the best decisions I ever made in my life, just getting the heck out of Chicago, because I saw the signs of a city that was in decline back in 2015, and that was when you couldn't even go to the south side even during the day, and then all that riffraff was spreading throughout the city, and then there was more decline in the downtown area. You could see the cracks. A lot of stuff was being neglected. So I just knew it was time to leave. So then I left. And what I wish I would have done differently during that time, I wish I would have just moved more stuff via the movers. I do not regret taking all the stuff that I took, because I found out that, yeah, I can use this stuff, and had I gotten rid of it, I would have regretted it. So that's the one thing that would be a caveat, is if you get rid of too much stuff, well, then you're going to find out that you wish you wouldn't have gotten rid of it, especially if it was something that was decent. Then you have to replace it, and then what you replace it with now is more expensive and is most likely crappier. So I was very glad that I kept most of my stuff. When my husband moved here in 2021, he regrets getting rid of some of the stuff that he got rid of. And so we kind of agree, well, we should just had you bring all your stuff, and then we would have figured it out now rather than regret it. So that's the thing about when you move, even when you move locally, just hang on to your stuff if it's decent. And then, yeah, it's going to cost more, but then you can decide, because now with the mass inflation and everything just being a pile of crap now that you buy, so that's my advice. But the thing I would have done differently was utilize the professional movers more instead of making all these trips in these U-Haul trucks. It was just so much work, but I managed to get it done in the summer, and then I was completely moved. I had all my stuff in Ohio in mid-October, and the reason why is because owning a place with a family member, with a relative, then I was able to take stuff away in pieces. And yeah, I wound up having more stuff than I thought I would have. But then again, like I said, I got it to Ohio and I used most of it, and then I was able to get rid of stuff just by having Goodwill come and pick it up. And then I was able to go through things at my leisure instead of rushing. And then the other thing was, the stuff was good enough where I was able to get a tax deduction because I took the time to document what I was getting rid of, and I was able to have Goodwill pick it up, and I took the tax deduction. And there's a page on the internet that tells you what the approved values are of various items. So if you're donating various clothing items, then you get so much for a pair of pants, a coat. I mean, you just take each item, and if you take the time to write down what the item is specifically and take a photo of it, you write it down. And what I do, I complete a list, and I attach the list to my tax return so that when I'm claiming these deductions, I have it all documented, and I've never had any issues. And I've been doing this since 2015 because there's always something, oh, I don't need this anymore, and then I donate it and do a full documentation. And yeah, I could probably not have to attach that list for the IRS, but if they ever had a question, well, I'm answering their question before they even have it. So it's not hurting anything. So that's my advice for moving. Be mentally prepared. You need to have several $1,000s. I mean, you need to have the down payment. So this is, in addition to the down payment, you need to have several $1,000s for the movers, for any closing costs, which besides the down payment, I don't recall any, but it was always the incidental costs for moving, for storage, because I had to have some stuff stored because we felt bad for the sellers because they kind of sold with an illness, and we gave them a couple days to move out. So then I had to store my stuff for a couple days to give them the time, because it was just this illness and stuff. And so we let them stay a day or two after closing. So it was just having that extra money. So there's always these incidental costs. So if if you're making a long distance move, 15 to 20 grand set aside just for the movers and any other cost. Plus, you're going to run into things when you actually move into the place. I mean, just something breaking, you just don't know, and you always need something. So, like I needed to get leaf blowing stuff because I didn't have to remove all these leaves in the city like I did in the suburbs. So I had to buy leaf removal, leaf blowers, leaf bags. I had to get a washer and dryer because the washer and dryer didn't come with the house. So just stuff like that. There's always something. But we had a full inspection done. We had a radon inspection. So that's an important one that probably a lot of people overlook, is the radon inspection. Because radon is a gas that comes from the soil. It's radioactive. It can cause cancer. And yeah, there's a lot of people, oh, it's a scam. But I don't think so. So we found radon, and the sellers had to buy a radon removal machine that sucks the gas out. It's attached to your house. It's sort of bores in like a sump pump, and it has to run 24/7. We've had it tested throughout the years, and it's working. And we always have to check. There's a gauge in the basement, and we always have to make sure it's working. So one time the roofers accidentally turned it off when they were redoing the roof, and then we knew right away. We turned it back on. But I also have a handheld radon detector too. So that's one of the inspections you should, invest in. And then always get an inspector that you choose, not one that's recommended by the realtor. Go do your research. Check the Better Business Bureau. Check the reviews, and hire your own inspector, which we did. And we found that there were carpenter ants, and what we found, it was coming from flashing by the chimney. We found that the chimney needed to be replaced because there was spalling on the brick. So we got various estimates, and we decided to do it ourselves, and we just had them take that amount off the selling price. And then the thing with the electrical box that had to be replaced. So just various things that we found by hiring our own inspector. We even had a guy that we hired take off a couple pieces of the siding just to make sure we didn't have anything with rot. I mean, we checked everything. So that's one of the big investments you should make, is an inspector. There's various specialties. So, like I said, I don't regret making the move. I would very much regret if I still lived in Chicago, because that city's just seems to be getting worse and worse with the taxes, with the crime, with the corruption, and it's almost becoming like New York City's going to become. Like there's these different pockets of the U.S., Los Angeles, New York City, and Chicago, and then Minneapolis, just becoming like little, I don't know, socialist empires. It's just becoming very bizarre. So, clown world. But there's a lot of planning that needs to happen when you make a long distance move. And a lot of it's just getting that money, having $15,000, $20,000 extra, depending on how many states you're moving across. And then you need to really, really, really vet out your movers too. Fortunately, I got a good realtor, a local Ohio realtor, a local Ohio mortgage guy. That was very important. I did research. I found these people by doing my own research, and I had nothing but good experiences. And then the other thing what the mortgage guy told us is once you get your mortgage, once everything's recorded, you get all this scam email saying that, yeah, just acting like they're your mortgage company, and then also offering different warranties and bogus crap like that. So you just take that stuff and throw it in the garbage. That's what I did. So you have to be very careful, because unfortunately, once everything's recorded on the deed, everything's public, so you get all the scammers. And I think now it's going to be even worse. Just with so much more of your data out there. Then the other thing is you should go onto your broker, like the Redfins and Zillow and those sites, create your own account and delete all of your information about your new home, because you can do it. And then also go on Google Maps and put a big black square in front of the photo of your house, and then say that you're having data problems. I forgot exactly how you say it. I've done it a long time ago. But when you pull up my house, you just see a big black square covering the picture, and you just Google what you're supposed to do, how you do it. It might have changed now, but you just do that. And then what else? You put an alert. Research your local recorder's office, put an alert, try to find out how you can lock your title, or get some kind of alert in case somebody tries to steal your title, because that is increasing. So then you you just notify them to give your email, And then the other thing you do, you find the record of your title information, and you make a shortcut on your desktop, and you look at that link every week or a couple times a month to make sure that nobody's messing with your title. Because especially if you buy your house outright, you got all that equity in your house, so anybody can steal your title. It's so easy nowadays, just with the laws that, oh yeah, let's broadcast everybody's home data, make it public, which I think is a crime. Just like I think property taxes are a crime. So you got to do all that stuff, and unfortunately in the United States everything is like a big billboard. You have no privacy anymore, so you have to check everything now. You know, all this technology is supposed to set you free. I think it's just tightened up the shackles even more, that you're just a slave looking at your data all the time, creating all these passwords, all because of the big tech. So that's what you have to do. Then the other thing you should do is get one of those information eraser companies, the data deletion companies, which I've used. Delete Me. I've had Delete Me for quite a long time. So they have improved things a lot, because my name used to be all over the place. There's some stuff where they did this because the data brokers just proliferate like mushrooms in a wet field. They just keep popping up. And I found one, and it had all my voting information and address and all this crap. So I notified Delete Me, and they took care of it. So, but there's other sites that you can join, so I suggest you do that as well. And even if you're not moving, you do it. And even if you're not moving, you put alerts for your house title. So that's basically what I can think of now. But if you're in a crappy area, if you see things happening where you end up in another California, Illinois, New York, then now's the time just to get out if you can. Unfortunately, a lot of people are stuck, whether it's family or their job. Luckily, I was able to get out, even though my family is in Illinois, but now they've kind of spread, and my parents have passed since. But I just I had to get out. I knew it was time to get out. So when your gut tells you to get the hell out of Dodge, then you should get out of Dodge. And I prayed my lucky stars. I got out right at the beginning of the recovery of the housing market. So housing costs were pretty cheap. I got the house very reasonable price, and cost of living is fairly low, and it was a time when local people in Ohio were telling me I better make a move because they thought the prices were going to start going up, and they have. So I came in at the right time. Thank God.